Good morning. Welcome to the Fortify and Bounce Back Mastering Cyber Resilience and Recovery webinar. My name is Skip Tamke. I am the Senior Director of Solutions Delivery here at ZENfra, and I'll be joined shortly by Vipin Nair, who is our Director of our India Digital Transformation Operation. We also have Fred and Gautam here, who are your moderators today. Fred, Gautam, anything you'd like to say?
Good morning. Good morning to all, and thanks for joining the webinar today. So we'll be having the webinar on, as you mentioned, as the Fortify and Bounce Back on mastering the cyber resilience and recovery. So we have, the strategies of the cyber resiliency and recovery, and then how ZENfra supports for the cyber resiliency and recovery operations, and how to fortify your businesses and outcomes. Reduce the outcomes of the cyber attacks. So let us dive into the webinar.
Great. So thank you again for your time this morning. This morning, we're going to be going into the what's and wherefores and how-tos of cyber resiliency. So first off, know your threats. Based on insights and observations obtained from monitoring over 150 billion security events a day in more than 130 countries, 71% year-over-year increase in cyber attacks that have used stolen or compromised credentials. 32% is the share of cyber incidents that have involved data theft and leak, indicating that more attackers stealing and selling data rather than encrypting it for extortion, because they can make a lot more money and a lot more impact by spreading out their attack across millions and millions of people or companies. And the AI market share milestone is 50% right now. So what that's going to do is incentivize cybercriminals to invest in developing more effective tools using AI to attack AI. Yes, that's what we're seeing, is people are writing customized AI routines to target their attacks, to pinpoint their attacks against the AI bots that are working on protecting people's infrastructure. So I guess the 21st century that we all were scared about in the last century has arrived, and it's arrived in a big way. So what is cyber resiliency? Well, according to NIST, it's the ability to prepare for, respond to, and recover and adapt from adverse conditions, like cyber attacks, incidents that compromise the company's security, availability, or integrity of its digital assets. That could be cyber attack. It could be weather, like what happened in Houston last week. It could be fire, what happened out in California, or what's happening currently in Canada today. It could be water. So it could be anything that impacts your ability as an organization to do productive business. So it's not just about protecting from cyber attacks, although those are usually the most pervasive and the most damaging to a company. It really is anything that can cause an outage into the ability of your company's data assets. So
And Skip,
NIST
we have
yes.
a webinar poll here.
Okay, thank
So
you. Go ahead.
just initial poll. Fred, please launch the pre-webinar poll. So this will be helping us out to construct our upcoming slides based on your understanding or requirements. Okay. So it is a 1 minute poll. Please, attendees, please provide your.
Sure, Gautam, we will launch the poll now.
Yeah. So you can see the poll. So please do. It's a simple questions, multi-choice. You can select, and we can, so that we can take the webinar record. So the polling is we getting a response from attendees, maybe another 30 seconds. so that we can go into the slides deeper. We see some of the attendees are not yet responded to the polls. These attendees, so just your polls here.
Are we ready to proceed?
Yeah, you can proceed.
Okay. Okay, so according to the U.S. government NIST, the cyber resiliency framework is really all about governance, and it works from pre-incident and post-incidents. So on the pre-incident side, you've got detect, protect, and identify. And on the response side, you have refine, respond, and recover. All of those are an ever circling loop because you're never in a static position. You're always learning, you're always growing, you're always modifying. And we're going to dive into each one of those as part of this, as in our educational seminar today. So identify. What does identify really mean? Is A, knowing where your data lives and understand what is the most sensitive data. So residence and classification, very important. Identifying the critical business functions and assessing the risks that could potentially disrupt them. Think of who might benefit from getting a hold of your data, what they might do with it. Next, maintain good IG hygiene with an inventory of your digital assets. So not just a point in time, it needs to be a living, breathing, growing thing. You have to understand what your assets are, where they are, and how they're protected. And this will all give you the visibility over everything in your environment so that you understand what is at risk and what needs to be protected. Protect. Implementing appropriate safeguards to protect against a cybersecurity event. We're talking about cloud, network endpoints, mobile devices. Basically having a good firewall, strong passwords, mobile device management. All of those items are super important when you're looking to protect yourself. Next, educate and train your employees on best practices. I know a lot of companies, do a quarterly cybersecurity test where they make people take a quiz on cybersecurity and then educate them on things that they're deficient in. I think that is okay, but I think that there needs to be more deeper training, not just on the what, but on the how and on the why. So people understand their role in cybersecurity, not just, once a quarter I have to jump through this hoop. Next is establishing clear policies and access controls. Make sure that you offer role-based access in your organization. Someone who's a systems administrator should be able to administer systems, but they should not be able to delete data. Someone who's an end user should never be able to work in systems administration. Someone who's in HR should not be looking at business data. It's very important that you classify your users and your data, and you have role-based access to everything in your organization. Next is to maintain a program for vulnerability management and regular IT infrastructure maintenance. Make sure that at least on a quarterly basis that you're checking vulnerabilities and patching them, making sure that operating systems are up to date, make sure that end user computing is up to date, make sure that your firewall is updated against the latest threats, making sure that your procedures get updated on a regular basis to factor in the latest threats that are coming out. Detect, maintaining visibility into your network so you can detect intrusions. Continuous monitoring, influence systems that monitor your environment for suspicious activity. This could be a firewall. This could be access control. This could be ongoing user checkouts to see who's been logging in that hasn't been logging in lately. Checking to make sure that people who have elevated levels of access are updating their passwords on a regular basis. Threat detection capabilities, identify malicious actions and potential cyber threats. Once again, that is, making sure that your firewall is effective, that you're doing penetration testing, that you're constantly monitoring for DDoS attacks or man-in-the-middle attacks, that you're understanding that when people are authenticating that they are the same person, two-factor authentication, an external verification device or an external verification service, all to make sure that the people who are logging into your network and onto your data are the people who you think they are. Incident response readiness. Be ready to react quickly to a detected threat with established response measures. Be it locking down the firewall, be it closing down external access when necessary, be it making sure that your user who is looking squirrely is disabled until you can verify who they are. And the most important thing is to stay informed about threat intelligence, stay up to date on newest threats, AI threats, threats that are coming in from abroad, threats that are politically motivated, threats that are commercially motivated. You need to always be looking ahead rather than looking back to understand what your threat profile could look like tomorrow, next week, next month. And if anyone has any questions, please enter into the chat or raise your hand for a Q&A. Respond. Having a good response plan in place. So you've got to have a developed response plan. You can't just make this up as you go. You have to have a clear plan outlining what actions to take, in what order, knowing what your most business critical systems are to get back, how you're going to get them back, what resources you need to do that, what external assistance you might need for that to happen, and very, very importantly, understanding how you're going to do that recovery, not just the what and the what, who, and how, but the why, making sure that you really understand that this is how we're going to do this, be it a quarterly disaster recovery test or a regular flipping between sites or using your load balancer to change which cloud provider you go to or which cloud region you go to, just to make sure that you know the exact response plan that you're going to implement depending upon the threat and the level of intrusion that you've seen. Defining roles and responsibilities. You need incident commanders. You need incident subcommanders. You need role players. You need people who are going to do recovery. You need people who are going to work the help desk. You need people who are going to be handling the public relations involved, since in many cases these things become public very, very quickly. And you also are going to need people on the legal team to understand very quickly what the impact is going to be on your company from a legal standpoint. You have to have strict, swift action, encouraging a rapid response. So you need a response plan in place, but also think about adding automation. Think about, a one-button failover to a different site. Think about, automated recoveries once you've failed over to the secondary site. Think about automated recoveries of things if you're going to be, moving to the cloud or you have cloud infrastructure already stood up for recovery. Think about automation to fire those up and get ready to get that working. And finally, looking to improve your recovery time. All of this automation and all of this planning and all of this thinking is going to facilitate a faster restoration of normal operations after an attack. And it may prevent you from having a deeper attack than you would have had you not had a plan. Recover. You need to be able to have the right people and processes and tools in place to do a speedy recovery. Got to minimize your downtime by getting your applications back to normal as quickly as possible. And think about using experts, internal or external experts that can be on call, ready to go whenever you have a problem. They will have your response plan in their hand, ready to execute, understood, tested, and vetted. Attack containment, very important to effectively stop the attack. If you've got an external attack that you see is starting to come in and it's working its way through your servers, you need to understand where your second and third and fourth lines of defense are to that attack. If they've gotten through with a DDoS, if they've gotten through with a DDoS attack and they've disabled your firewall by basically flooding it, you need a second line of defense. You need to be able, through authentication, to be able to stop those people. And if they get through authentication, You need to have application and role-based security to stop them from getting any further than they've already gotten. And then finally, you've got to think about system restoration. You've got to be able to eliminate any trace of the attack while preserving any forensic information of that attack. So one of the best things to do in that particular stance is to have a hot standby ready to go. So you can flip over the hot standby, air gap the systems that have been affected, and leave them in a forensically secure state so that a forensic team can come in and understand who did it, why they did it, how they did it, so that you can learn for the next time. Resilience is about being properly prepared for these issues because it's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen and it's not going to go away. In fact, it's going to get worse. With the advent of AI, these attacks are getting more sophisticated, more targeted, and more effective. And the only way around that is to use the same technology against the bad actors. Organizations have reported at least 240 hours of planned downtime every year on average. Imagine, that was doubled or quadrupled or quintupled. Imagine what that would cost, not just your team, but your company, your company's reputation, your customers. So the bottom line is about protecting the entire ecosystem, not just your customer, but your employees, your data, your customers, your partners, your governmental contacts. So five pillars of a cyber resilient organization. One, it goes beyond prevention. You've got to recognize that attacks are inevitable and you have to manage the risks and manage the damage that can be done. It has to be comprehensive. You've got to have strong cybersecurity with good incident response plans and backups, as well as other quick means of having alternate sites, disaster recovery locations, those kind of things. And it's more than technology. In fact, most of the problem is not a technological problem. Most of the problem is a people problem. If you look at some of the most recent cyber attacks that have gone public, and a lot of the ones that haven't gone public, it was a social engineering attack. They got credentials from someone who had an elevated level of access. They called the help desk, and a well-meaning, helpful help desk person reset credentials for someone when they hadn't fully authenticated who they were. And that is how many of these attacks begin, and that's how many of them are so successful. Minimize the impact, reducing disruption and reputational damage. The faster and deeper you can stop an attack and recover from it, the less reputational and financial damage your company is going to have. And finally, business continuity. Business continuity used to be an old term in the mainframe world where you had a disaster recovery test every month, or you flip to your alternate site or something like that. It's a lot more now. It's about everything within your enterprise having the ability to very quickly recover from any event that affects availability, processing, as well as reputation. So what do you need to do here? Data is the enabler for cybersecurity science. Why is it the enabler? Two things. One, data is the target. They're not after your servers to just take them down. They're after the data that resides in the organization, your customers, your business intelligence, your supply chain. They want to know from a cyber standpoint of what they can extract from your network as fast as possible that will get them the most money. Or they want to disable the most important data that will make you pay the most ransom to get them to unencrypt it. So it's all about assuring the quality, security, and privacy of your data. And that starts with an understanding of it. So data quality is super important because it ensures that your data is accurate, complete, consistent, all of these good words. If you're basing security on inaccurate, bad data, then your cybersecurity will also be bad. It's an extension of the old garbage in, garbage out scenario. So where can we start? That's where ZENfra can help. ZENfra is a suite of data management platforms that takes data from all of the infrastructure and infrastructure related elements within your organization. Servers, storage, network switches, storage switches, cloud providers, asset databases, people databases, data in general, as well as financial data. It brings it all into one place and allows you to manage that data, understand that data, and make inferences from that data. So what we basically call ZENfra is a data platform. Think of it as a large data lake that contains everything from a metadata standpoint about your environment. ZENfra never ever touches your live data. All it does is it looks at the metadata that surrounds your data. What storage platform it lives on, what server platforms it live on, what the relationships between those servers and that storage are, how you get to your data, be it via NAS or block or by cloud or by unstructured data or object data. It basically puts everything together in one place that gives you the ability to manage and understand everything about the infrastructure on which your data and your applications lives. And then we bring that up a level into what we call product suites or ZENpacks. So our ZENpacks are outcomes based on understandings of the data. One is privileged access management, talking about the concept of role-based access or least privilege required access. Our REX package for privileged access management gives you the ability to understand who can do harm to your servers or data from a user perspective. That's people who have elevated access at the server level, people who have elevated access at the AD level, people who have the ability to make modifications to your SAN or storage infrastructure, people who can make modifications to your servers, to understand who can do harm in your organization, and then manage how those people can access, when they can access, how they access. Next one is observability, understanding on the whole what everything in your organization looks like. Everything from how is my utilization on my storage infrastructure on the file side? How is my cloud utilization? How is my block utilization? How many network ports am I using? Am I coming close to the capacity of the network port density on my switches? How many servers do I have that is serving this particular web function? And is it enough or is it too many? How am I utilizing my cloud infrastructure? Am I overutilizing it? Am I underutilizing it? Are my contracts in a good state? So that's what observability looks like, to basically look at the current state of everything in your organization. Chargeback is a method of using the data to make your data center an extended cloud data center into a profit center, charging the businesses back for the consumption that they use, be it servers, storage, cloud, network facilities, anything. We can measure that, and we can help you determine that at a departmental level by finding a way to charge that back to your customers, even if it's not real money or if it's just P&L transfers. It's a way of distributing the IT budget out into the business units that are the actual consumers of the IT budget. FinOps is a method that we utilize to help you optimize your cloud and on-prem infrastructure, to understand what your contracts look like, understand what your subscriptions look like, and allow you to do what-if scenarios. Say that I've decided that maybe I'm spending too much money, or we look at you and say, you may be spending too much money on Amazon because of either utilization, service level, performance commitments. How would that look if I change service levels? How would that look if I change subscriptions? How would it look if I move to a different CSP? To understand that. That's what FinOps does. The ZCBI is our vulnerability assessment, where we take a look at all of your infrastructure and let you know where you might need to be patching that infrastructure based on current threat postures in the industry. All of this comes together under something we call ZI or ZENfra Intelligence. What ZENfra Intelligence does, it uses a set of AI and ML rules that we write and that you can modify for your organization that does what I would call consulting in a box. In a normal consulting engagement, it's typically an 80% smart guy type of engagement. What we've done with ZCBI is we've taken 60% of a normal consulting engagement and put it into the tool. So you will see insights, anomalies, recommendations from within ZENfra that you would normally have to pay a consultant from the outside to take a look at and come up with an answer for you. And ZENfra can do that by default with, with some tweaking by you to match your environment that can do real insights, contracts that are coming up for renewal, opportunities to save money, opportunities to optimize your storage environment, opportunities to optimize your server environments. That's what ZI basically does. And finally, ZMIG is the outcome of what I would say ZI, ZOBS, and ZCBI. What ZMIG is the ability to perform digital transformation from platform to platform. Say you've got a virtual server infrastructure that you've just heard that your licensing structure is going to be tripling with your next renewal next year. ZMIG actually gives you the intelligence and the plan and the actionable steps to migrate that virtual infrastructure to either different on-prem infrastructure or hybrid cloud infrastructure. Also, it gives you the ability, if you are finding that there are certain things that currently live in a public or private hybrid cloud, that you might want to bring it back on-prem for either security or performance or cost purposes. ZMIG can actually help you with doing all of that. And finally, you've got inventory. The inventory is basically everything that lives within this data management platform, inside our data lake, if you will. And it gives you the ability, once again, to slice and dice and understand your inventory by location, country, region, department, group, business unit. So you can actually take all of your assets as well as all of your data and classify that to the owners and the business function that they serve. It's a good time to take a break here. Do you have another poll, guys? Gautam or Fred?
Yes, Kip, we do have one more poll. We can launch it right now. Here we go.
So our purpose today was not so much to sell you ZENfra, although we would love you to take a look at ZENfra. We would love to show you how it works. The idea here is to put our services into the larger context of cyber resiliency and how we plug into the various pieces of it and how we can help you get a better handle on how each one of those items relate to you and your organization and or your customers. So one of the ZENpacks that we have in here is our observability platform, Customer 360. What it basically is a single pane of glass view of every piece of infrastructure in your organization that you can then drill into. So it's a customizable front panel where you can look at storage, servers, clouds, switches on both network and storage, finances, security, all of those things in one place so that you can understand what things look like today at a macro view, and then use that macro view to zoom into various lower levels of the micro view. down to device and or user or application levels. Here's a look at one of our ZENfra 360 screens. This basically shows physical server capacity, virtual server capacity, hypervisor capacity, connected OSs to switches and storage, clustered OSs, capacity by OS types. So it really does give you a very good high-level view of what you got in your organization. And then by clicking deeper, you can get deeper insights into each element of the infrastructure. This is the vulnerability portion of Customer 360, where you can start looking at all of the various assets and where vulnerabilities may be for you to look deeper into the organization. This is just another view of the vulnerability. Here is a look at the backup and recovery infrastructure. So once again, this is going by server, what servers have met their backup and recovery targets, and how much backup the backup servers are being utilized, how many backups are configured versus how many are actually doing vault, how backup jobs are completing. So that's it for today. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I'd like to open it up for you to anything you would like to ask or any follow-ups you would like.